Hello everyone, welcome to Manika IAS. Let us start our discussion with respect to daily news analysis. But before we proceed, as always, we'll look into the topics that we'll be discussing today. So these are the topic of discussion from today's newspaper. So the first and the foremost is and Greece relationship. So this is with respect to the visit. This is with respect to the visit of Greece Prime Minister to India, which will be occurring from tomorrow onwards. So we'll be discussing about the India-Greece relationship in that context. This is important for your international relation, pre as well as your mains. Okay. Then we'll discuss about the Northern Ireland issue. So although we'll not be going into the political aspect of it, we'll be focusing major on the aspects which are important from our examination point of view, and that is the geography of the region and also some related agreements that can be asked in your prelims. A standalone question on Brexit is not expected to be asked in your main, so we'll be focusing on the aspects which are important from the point of view of preliminary in this particular article which was given in the newspaper. Now let's look at the next topic, that will be report by the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Financial Services. Here we'll be analyzing the difference between domestic and the need of domestic vis-a-vis the foreign financial services platform. Okay, so here we'll be analyzing phone pay, Google Pay vis-a-vis Bheem UPI, which is government platform for UPI transactions. Then this is a very small topic with respect to a Supreme Court verdict on definition of forest. Although we will not be looking here with respect to the amendments and also the details of the forest definition, but we'll be looking into the verdict of Supreme Court. Okay. So let's move to the very first topic, which is India-Greece relationship. So the context, as we have discussed, that Greek Prime Minister will be visiting India from between February 21 and 22, that is tomorrow and day after tomorrow. So, an important step. What is the significance of this particular meeting? See, this will enhance the strategic ties, the foundation stone of building and strengthening the strategic ties were laid down during the last year when in August 2023 our Prime Minister visited the Greece. Okay, so do you let us first understand what is the importance of Greece. It has a strategic importance to play. So if you see this map, this is your Turkey, which is a part of Asia, and this is your European Turkey, and adjacent to it is your Greece. So it will act as a pathway to Europe for India. And also we do have historical ties that we'll be discussing along with the economic uh, benefits as well. So, what are we going to expect from the visit? That it will deepen the bilateral ties, cooperation in many fields. As we discussed, India will be, and this is the statement which was given by Mr. Mitsotakis from the Greece. So, will be you can use it in your answers for your mains answer writing. That no better gateway to Europe than uh, Greece. And also it said that Greece also cannot find a better gateway to Asia other than India. Okay. And see, there is a growing importance of India because we have advantage of demographic dividend, resources, resource richness. Then India is a, to an extent, ethically developing country. in Asia, which is a very promising country as well. If you see China, China is not considered as an ethically growing country. Then we are also a democratic country, which make India as a more tempting nation to be investing in. Then another thing also is there that you have a presence of cheap labor. Okay, so this is what make India more attractive to the investors and for the businesses to set up their factories and their manufacturing hub in India. However, there are some legislative loopholes which make ease of doing business a little difficult. But however, government is solving those issues, and we are on a path of resolving the issues with respect to economic doing businesses. Now, if you see perception, as we have discussed, India is perceived as an old and traditional friend of Greece, but also a rising great power in the fast changing global scene. Why great power? As we have discussed these things, along with the new initiative, like India is has committed itself to clean energy, and then we have also initiated something called International Solar Alliance. So all these things make India as a dependable country and a country where you can come and start your businesses in. So another important thing is that we have an old and traditional tie. So if you see our Gandhara art, Gandhara art form, it is inspired to an extent from Greece as well. So it is a Greco-Roman architecture. So that is why we have old ties as well. Okay, now let's move forward and see what are the various level at which we are cooperating with each other at present. So we do have joint exercises, navy and military exercises. We do have. Then economy, business majors are collaborating with each other to grow further. So we do have business cooperation as well. Then another this was an example given that for building a new airport island in the island of Crete, Indian and Greece business houses are collaborating together. Then if you see another place where Greece play an important role is, like as we have discussed, as geographically also it is on the um, as a connecting link between Asia and Europe. Then North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and then it can also help in constructing the idea of India Middle East Europe Economic Corridor, which was proposed by India recently, and we have also discussed about this corridor. If you haven't watched the video, I'll be providing you with the link in the description box, so you may please see that video with respect to the the corridor. Okay, now then you also see that we have India, Greece is also supporting India with respect to its bilateral trade and investment agreement with EU. Okay, so it is mediating and they are pushing it to be concluding soon. So this is also where Greece is helping, supporting India basically. Then we do have close people to people ties, and then we need to make sure that we tap on this ties of people. So there are two type of power. One is your soft power. One is your soft power, one is your hard power. Hard power typically means your military power. India is, when it comes to its relation with the other country, it's less dependent on hard power than on soft power. In soft power, you have cultural connect. You use your diaspora, you use your cinema, all these act and building a collaboration and an major connection between the two countries. And this is where India tap most of its relationship. And that's why we are saying that in terms of Greece also, as we have also discussed, that we do have historical ties as well. So we should bank and we should not lose the sight of our soft power as well. Okay, so this was something which was with respect to India Greece relationship. Now let's move to the Northern Ireland issue. So, see, the issue entirely of Netherlands resolve around the Brexit agreement. Now, there is the recent development in Northern Ireland is that an election of a new government, which is a first nationalist government, and they are committed to remaining in UK, right? So there are uh, elections which occurred in 2022, and as a result of which the new elected government is in favor of staying with UK. So let's see what is the issue with respect to the Brexit first. See, in 2016 Brexit happened, and if you see the geographical location of Netherlands and Republic of Ireland, there are two Ireland. So what is happening here is, now if you see this map, Scotland, England, these two collectively make Great Britain, and when you include Northern Ireland in it, then you have United Kingdom. Okay, and if you include Republic of Ireland in it, then you have British Isle. So what was the problem? The problem is when Brexit happened, it was United Kingdom who exited from the European Union. However, the Republic of Ireland is still a part of European Union. Now, as a result of which, because in European Union you have a free passage of goods and services across the borders. So now the arrangement between these two nations were hampered. So to make sure that this is smoothly working, they came with a agreement called Good Friday Agreement, in which they said that Northern Ireland remained in EU custom union to maintain a border-free relationship with Ireland. So only Northern Ireland, not these Scotland, England were not allowed, but Northern Ireland was uh, stayed kept in EU in order to ensure that there is no disruption of life of the people of these two places. Okay, and in 2023, Winster framework was signed. This framework aimed to simplify paperwork for goods sent from Northern Ireland to Great Britain. A Britain trusted trader scheme and differentiated lanes were arranged, were constructed like green for goods to Northern Ireland, red for goods to EU. So this is how the process took place. However, the problem is there are a lot of complication with respect to a lot of paperwork which has to be done for the goods to travel across the border, and that is an issue. Another, then you have pressures also for Northern Ireland for the Brexit, that the arrangement was placed, but they expected that this to go away in certain period of time, but it is still the same way. There is no differentiation so far. So since the new government has came into place, so we might expect certain changes with respect to these arrangements, and then you do have political deadlock and reform. But however, these are certain things which are not important from for our exam point of view. This was just to give you a perspective, but what is important from our point of view was this: these agreements, this Winster Agreement, Good Friday Agreement, and the geographical location. This was important from exam point of view. So that was it from for this topic. Now let's move to the report by the Standing Parliamentary Committee. See, Parliamentary Standing Committee report submit here with respect to the fintech apps. Now, what were the findings? The finding was key fintech apps owned by foreign entities had dominated the Indian fintech centers sector. So, if you compare PhonePe, the PhonePe market share is 46%, Google Pay market share is 36%, and if you see Bheem UPI, its market share is less than 1%. If you see the transaction volume. So, in order to maintain an equilibrium, a balance in 2020, NPCI came out with the direction that it imposes a 30% volume cap on transaction facilitated by UPI. Now, this was to be by December 31st, 2024. And what does it mean? It means that a single fintech platform uh, cannot be ground for the transaction for more than 30% of the total transaction that occurred in the last 3 months. So this is the recommendation. Okay, it is to be implemented by December 31, 2024. But however, this to an extent restrict the free market spirit. So we shall see what happened to this. And what is the reason behind it? The reason was that there was some concern with respect to the fraud. According to the committee report, they said that some of these fintech companies were being used for money laundering. And the example which was cited by this, an app based in Abu Dhabi, PayPal, administered by Chinese investment scamsters. It said it is making a challenge for Indian law agency to track illicit money. So this is a challenge, a concern with respect to fraud. That is why they restricted on the number of transactions that can happen. Okay. However, we shall see the implementation of these now. What is now the other important thing was importance of local fintech players. So what is the important? Deloitte has said that the natural advantage of local fintech is that they know the Indian market, the customer behavior, and compliance with the local laws. Okay, so if you have a decent mix of local and foreign fintech players, it will be a good competitive fair play stage for everyone. Okay, now, revenue growth and consumer behavior. McKinsey Global Payment Report has suggested that UPI are expected to contribute less than 10% of the future revenue growth. Okay, so this is what McKinsey Global has said, that it will be responsible for less than 10% of future revenue growth. And it also said that positive impact of UPI is on security, and it has led to increased access to digital commerce channels and elimination of hidden costs associated with managing cash transactions. So this is the benefit, and this is the market share. So in case you get a question with respect to the role of fintech in digital inclusion or something Indian economy, so you can quote this data and these points that in your answers. So this part is basically important for your mains GS paper 3. Okay, economic skill here. So this is the importance of this area. Now let's move to the last topic, which is definition of forest. So the Supreme Court was hearing a plea with respect to the amendment made to the Forest Conservation Act last year, and in that the court has said that in a bench headed by CGI, Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, they have said that the expression forest will have broad and all-encompassing meaning for time being. That means it will also include 1.97 lakh square kilometer of undeclared forest lands. Okay, so this was the, it said that it has to be a broad and all-encompassing definition. This is what the direction of Supreme Court is. And why this act was enacted? The act was enacted to check deforestation, which was causing the ecological imbalance. That was the purpose of this act. But in recent time also, as we know that we want to increase our forest cover to 33%, and so that we can have less pollution and more oxygen, and we can repair some of the climate change. So we are working in that direction. So about what about the petition? The petition has argued that Section 1A, which was introduced to the Amendment Act in 2023, see in any section if you find this A, this is a sign that it has been introduced by an amendment. Anything like A, B, so these things, and first amendment will add A, another amendment to the same article will add B to it. So these are the kind of no, ideas that you get. Definition of forest to two category. It said that they have diluted the definition of forest. One is declared forest and land recorded as forest in the government records after 1920. Okay. So, and here, what does the government record mean? Government record means the record which is contained in the provision to include land recognized as forest by any state, any union territory, local bodies, council or recognized community. इनमें से जिसने भी land को recognize किया है as forest, that will be counted as the forest in the government record. So the petitioner is particularly saying that they have diluted the definition. They have of forest in order to show an increase in the land coverage by the forest. However, in reality, the forest has not increased. Okay. Now, Supreme Court has said the government need to revert to the dictionary meaning of the forest as per the decision of 1996 in Tamil Nadu Godavaram case to align with the intent of Forest Conservation Act. Basically, in order to show increase in the forest area, the definition was diluted. However, the Supreme Court has said that you need to restrict yourself to the dictionary meaning of forest and you cannot add any land which is not forest under the definition of forest. Okay. The forest will cover but not confined to land recorded as forest in the government record as per the courts. So this was the verdict of the court with respect to definition of forest. So we'll be getting some editorials on this topic as well. So in the coming days, so we'll be discussing with respect to details with respect to Forest Conservation Act, the definition and change in the years since 1980s and the forest cover at present in the coming days. So we'll be discussing about those for today. This was it. Have a good day. Thank you.